Good morning. Looks awfully bright out there. I don't use much artificial lighting. I have my east windows, my west windows, and my south windows. I hope you can hear the birds. The back garden's full of them. It brings peace. Um, a couple of different topics. One, choosing the name. Most people don't have to think about it. You're given it by elders when after you're born. Uh, some wait until, well, that's history. I've had three different, there's that number again, transitions. The first attempt was while living in southern Indiana. There was a gender dysphoria clinic at IU campus. Unfortunately, it was closing down. So I went to a local doctor. These things do go on. And explained to him what was going on. He gave me 30 Quaaludes and told me to go home and take them all. I did. Second attempt of finding transition was in Wisconsin. Somehow things had changed a bit. Wisconsin was a liberal state at that time. And I had to do the research for the doctor as to medications, levels. And with a note from the doctor, went to the licensed branch and changed my name. D. Ray Wilson. Had surgery set up for University of Virginia. They were prime at that time for transition surgeries. Well, that fell apart. And I had to move back to Indiana from Wisconsin, go through puberty for a second time, glue pieces back together, and begin again. I was a successful hairdresser. Always outside the box thinking. Established a clientele. Moved up here to Indianapolis. was working at a very hoity-toity salon in Castleton Square Mall, LSRs. Well, my lover killed himself and I had to do something. So I became a flight attendant and flew all over the world. I mean, all over the world. And now to the current and last transition, which has 3 parts. Lord have mercy. That number. And choosing the name to carry for the rest of my life. But in some cultures, for the gender fluid, the third gender to spirit, a council of elders would gather to either choose the name or help in the decision. I chose my grandmother Wilson's name for a lot of reasons. First of all, she was one heck of a fighter. Second, she knew I was different. 3, or third, or tertiary. I carry her chutzpah. So, filling out my own name change paperwork, that horrid self-disclosure that was required at that time to be placed in a newspaper and run 3 consecutive times that you were applying for a different name. I was living in a conservative county at that time. Hancock County. Well, it came day for my to go before the judge. I was properly attired. Had my fuchsia business suit on. My hair was properly done, makeup not overdone. I believe I had just had my pearl earrings and a strand of pearls. I looked like an attorney. And when my case was called up, there were other people there for other cases. I went up to the judge, and the judge asked me who I was representing. And I looked him in the eye and I said, myself. He quietly looked over the paperwork, looked back at me and smiled and said, done. I immediately went to the Motor Vehicle Bureau with my paper in hand and changed that on a driver's license. Then I went to the Social Security office, got all of that squared away. It did cause such an uproar in the family that I chose grandmother Wilson's name. It fits me. I was older and just a small hint to my youngers. When you choose the name, remember your age. Hopefully, you'll have an idea of your journey, your calling, and make it fit. Could you imagine me being named Buffy? I'd have to slay vampires. Estelle fit. Sort of rolled off the tongue. I don't know whether I want to pursue with the Episcopal Church having the official title of sister. It could have some advantages and a slight bit of protection. Although there is a church that recognizes my title of Reverend Mother Estella Irene Kinkade-Wilson. So, I am a reverend. But I downgraded myself just to Sister Estelle. The high and mighty title of Reverend Mother, well, we can add that to all the others. Sister Estelle, Sister Mama, Lady Estelle of Schleifkirkwood, D. Ray Wilson, Dolores Delgado, Estelle fits. It's an important thing. My transition was at the end of the Harry Benjamin program of how to transition. I don't believe that's in effect anymore. Well, parts of it might be. I don't know. A long and strenuous process. During this last transition, we were required to have a carry with letter. That if we were stopped or had an encounter with enforcement, it stated that you were transitioned into, not stating the surgical part. And there was still a law in the books that said you had to have 3 articles of your birth gender on your person, wearing them. And I had black tube socks. And male bikini underwear. That came to a total of 3. During the second transition, in Wisconsin, I was driving from Wausau to Stevens Point, and the state police officer pulled me over. Made me get out of my car. He had my driver's license with Kinkade-Wilson, sex female. But I wasn't quite at the point of passing. So he got on the radio, and soon there were 4 other state police cars there. And I was being looked up and down by 4 Wisconsin state police officers. No tickets. I just provided them with some humor for the day. I headed back up to Wausau, to my Pullman's apartment. It was right next to the Wisconsin River, which always was so dark. And it was above what used to be a fruit warehouse storage with the main floor and 2 sub-basements. It may have also been used for ice storage when the river would freeze over before refrigeration. Now, I still have nothing left to sit on but bones, so I'll move along. So I am fully transitioned, whatever that term means. It was after my ischemic stroke that a lovely doctor from India arranged for me to have my transition surgery. She was a lovely lady. Yes. And understood the hijra. And understood why, because of my calling, I didn't need or want anything made. I just wanted some offending parts removed. Balance out my hormones. The crows are out today. It's interesting. The crows call in 3s here. So I had my surgery. All removed, nothing made. It's like I told the doctor, why build a shop that no one's going to go into? And he was a straight man, and I said, let's be honest, doctor. Most heterosexual men would rather go in the back door than the front. And if I should ever fall in love, well, my husband would have paradise. Maybe by the dashboard light, I don't know. So, that was completed. I was supposed to have 6 weeks of bed rest. That never happened. There were some conflicts. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. With my calling to a faith, my personal faith-based life of modesty, and in the serving of others in my community. Well, that's where I am at now. Chosen and chosen. The name. For those outside of my community, well, let's think about it. Anchors, television stars, movie stars change their names. Many people have plastic surgeries and change a lot of things. I don't need a pair of Victoria's Secret knockers. I can still hold a cup in my hand, and I don't need a shelf here. That discussion could lead into pumping parties, which still exist and are used by cisgender and transgender persons. I tried to get a district attorney, no, prosecuting attorney, and a detective. We met for coffee on the Circle. Had all the information about pumping parties and the who and the where. At that time, it was mostly transgender persons that were having them. They looked into it, but it was not illegal for people to have Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards off-the-shelf silicone put into their bodies. Oh, Lord have mercy. Some of my sisters still have to make certain that all that's massaged and kept in place. A few sisters have died because a blood vessel was nicked, and the latex would go into their system, the circulatory system, and hit the lungs and solidify, suffocating to death. Others, the injections would wrap around muscles and be impossible to remove. One sister had sepsis. All trying to fit in to what society's norms were. I have never been so blessed as to be called to modesty. My body is in harmony with myself. although I am declining. Oh, kids, if you knew the whole story of this life, well, maybe someone later on can do some research and put together the life. I didn't think pumping parties was going to come to my mind today. Now for my youngers. Oh, birds, don't quiet down yet. Don't. Just don't. Oh, that's rather deep and dark. I need to find something happy and go lucky to talk about. I'll think of something. I'm done with the ramblings for today. I think I'll listen to the birds, make Rocco and I a breakfast. He's very patient when I make videos. I think he sort of likes listening to hear me talk. But anyway, all of you, be kind to yourself. Love yourself. This is your journey. This is your calling. And as difficult as it's going to be, try to be kind to others. A humorous note. A little bit of the conversation with my oncologist. Before I went to Ireland to escape the first reign of the Emperor, my general practitioner was pushing me hard to get a will made. I was very unwell. When I went to Ireland, I expected to be going there to die. Well, I healed. So my doctor said to me, "You need to go back to Ireland. You came back so healthy." I told him that where I am is where my journey has brought me back to. For some reason, I will go back to Ireland to my 5 square feet, which Lady Estelle of Slivekirk has ownership of. I was trying to figure, if I'm going to haunt someplace, why not haunt someplace I like? So anyway, not doing much today. I'm going to my Thursday meeting. with my people. If I were Jehovah's Witness, this is Thursday, it would be the day to go door to door. I don't have any pamphlets to do that. And what would the pamphlets say? So I will cook. I will rest. And I will contemplate. It is a day. And soon the bird feeder, I will need to go out. And the bird feed brought in from Maggie. And I have a metal container to hold the food. I try to keep to a level of normalcy, contentment, and heal. So, even though it looks like there's lots of sunshine, well, you can watch this and pretend that there is. Don't do anything I haven't.